when we went racing, the very first race we ran in East Bay, and I got screamed at on the radio quite a bit, and honestly it pissed me off. But okay, so why? Let's figure out why. So the next day, Mike gets to the racetrack. I went in the trailer. I'm like, hey, obviously I pissed you off yesterday. Why? Like, tell me what you want me to do. Like, I'll do it. You just got to tell me how you want it done, because I'm doing things the way I know how to do them, but it may not be the way you want to do them. So how do you want me? You just got to listen to what I say. You just got to do as I tell you. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll do that. Like, but come talk to me. If you're pissed off, come talk to me. Like, you don't have to hop on the radio with 20 other people with headsets on and make an ass out of me.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, that's kind of how it started. And that did simmer down. That calmed down. It happened a couple more times, but it not enough for me to, whatever. It didn't matter. Again, put your big boy pants on. It. You gotta do what you can. So anyway, my focus kind of switched to, okay, so I don't fit in with these. I don't fit in with anybody. That's my personality. That's their personality. But if I work my ass off and I do my job, they at least still respect me for the job that I'm doing. So that was my mentality.
Just be tech guy. Be the best tech guy there is.
Be the best tech guy there was. At that point, I started to tech more. Like, I literally would worry that I wasn't teching enough. Like, okay, so, you have your routine you go through. You pre-race tech. You do post-race tech. Without tearing cars completely apart, there's only so many things you can do. So start to, okay, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? I got to switch it up. I got to keep these guys on their toes. I want to make sure that, all this, that, and the other. And so that was my mentality. And in all honesty, that probably was not a good mentality to have, in hindsight, but it is what it is. I mean, when it all comes down to it, Mike was oil, I was water, and we were never, ever, ever going to mix.
Now, what do you mean? Why would you say hindsight? Was there something that you would find as a tech person, or what was you?
Well, so, everybody pretty much, saw the tweets that I put out there over the winter. There was some stuff that I didn't agree with. And as time went on and I became more and more frustrated in the job when I was still there, I quit being so passive about it. It was, hey, I found this. What are we going to do? Tell them not to bring it back.
Yeah, I heard a rumor about you and some weight in a car. You don't have to name names, but what was that about?
Okay, so we went to, it was early in the season. I think it was at Golden Isles. Went to Golden Isles. We have a rule. Everybody has a rule. No weight in front of the front axle. I'm checking cars. I'm checking for weight. I found weight on
a car.
Probably three cars.
3 cars.
About 3 cars.
It was sneaky.
So I found weight.
Were they doing the sneaky stuff? That Cody Jacobs special? No, I'm just playing.
No. I mean, they were behind the tubes. If you didn't feel for them, you didn't know they were there. If you weren't looking, so. I feeling around and I felt weight on a couple cars and I found this weight, told them that we couldn't run the weight.
So this is pre-race tech.
Pre-race, yep, pre-race. Go to the command center. Said to Mike, hey, are we allowing weight on the front of these cars? No, absolutely not. Okay, so back out. Hey, we're not allowing weight. You got to take it off. Okay, no problem. Take the weight off. We go, I don't know, 3-4 races later. I'm doing pre-race tech. I find a car with weight on the front of it. Hey, you're not allowed to run this. Oh, yeah, I am. Mike told me I could. Well, what do you mean Mike told you could? But Mike told me I could pull weight on. Okay, so I go to Mike. Hey, are we allowing weight? Well, so we found a car with lead in the front bumper. So instead of, we made the guys take their weight off, but now they're filling their front bumpers with lead. So that's a safety issue. So we're gonna allow them to bolt the weight on. And I'm like, okay. Did we announce this? Does everybody know? No. And at that point, frustration sets in because it's like, wait a minute. If you're going to allow one guy to do it, you got to tell everybody.
Right.
Like, I don't care if we're bolting weight on or not. I don't give two shits. If you want to bolt weight on, bolt weight on. Like, but if it's in the rules that you can't bolt weight on, you can't bolt weight on. And if you're going to allow it, you have to allow it for everybody. You got to announce it. And it wasn't announced. So that, that was frustrating. That was one instance, yes. And like I said, as time went on and I got more and more frustrated with this whole process, I kept asking why. And I feel like every time I asked why, it was another nail in my coffin. And, but yeah, it just wasn't, it wasn't what I had imagined it being. Let's put it that way.
Well, and then obviously some of your tweets was talking about some other stuff. What was those other things? Just quick reference. Something about crank triggers and this and that, or what was the deal there?
So, and
the response is that they build them that way or something, right? Or what's going on there?
Yeah.
Explain, please.
So high limit and the Outlaws have a rule that you're only allowed one crank trigger. So you're allowed one crank trigger. That's what the rule is. It's black and white. It's in the rule books. Anybody can go Google it and read the rule. We were at a racetrack. I found two crank triggers on one of the engines that I was just looking at, and I went again, go and ask about it, and well, yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, but we're only allowed one. Well, I mean, there's engine builders building building engines with two crank triggers on it. So, I mean, what? We got to allow it. I'm like, okay, but we don't have to allow it. It's not our fault that the engine builder is building an engine illegal. Like, that's their problem. That's not our problem.
Are they illegal though? Is that what is this? Is it two crank trigger system illegal, or is it okay, or what is it? Is it like a gray? I mean, what's the situation here?
There's no gray. There's no gray about it. It's one crank trigger. You're allowed one crank trigger. There's some engines that don't even have a crank trigger, so you're allowed one crank trigger. And if you show up at the track with two, obviously you didn't bring your car to the track legal. So at that point, it's not our fault that you didn't bring a legal car. It's not our fault that your engine builder builds an illegal engine. And I hate to say the word illegal engine because the engine is legal other than the extra crank trigger, but it's not our responsibility.
That's what makes it illegal. That's
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's not our responsibility. Like, that is your engine builder's problem. So, you should probably be on the horn of your engine builder.
I'm assuming this was a well-known name engine builder too, and that plays into the buddy system and the cliques and the cartels, and they're all.
It was a touring team. It was one of our full-time touring teams. So yeah, that was another instance. And the Wicker Bill thing, after a race post-race tech, I check Wicker Bills and found a car that finished in the top three with a Wicker Bill that wasn't legal. And again, tell them not to bring it back. And it was one thing.
Was there any MSD? What was the MSD deal? Was that another one or no?
So yeah, the MSD thing was, I would, something we used to do with the All-Stars, we'd check the MSD box with an ohm meter. Whether or not that actually shows anything, I'll never tell you. I never found anybody that the ohm meter didn't read properly. But that was what we did. So in my thought process, of, hey, I need to step up my game here with tech, it was like, okay, I'm going to take somebody's MSD box. I'm going to tear it apart and just make sure we're good. Whenever I was with the All-Stars, I got an MSD box from TSR, took it apart, basically studied the wiring diagram on it, was pretty familiar with what it should look like, or what it should look like. Let me say that. Like, I never,
because they hide it in the wire or something like that, right? That's where they.
Yeah, I never saw one that was illegal. So I talked to several companies that make traction control. This is all when I was with the All-Stars. I called and talked to traction control companies. I called and talked to mag companies. MSD, everybody. Like, as much research as I could possibly do, I did. And because, the end goal is, okay, well, we want to make sure that nobody has traction control to the best of our abilities. So we were at a race, and at the end of the night, I took the MSD box from the winner, took it back to the command center, walk in the command center, what's that? MSD box. What are you doing with it? I'm tearing it apart. Absolutely not. You're not tearing apart the MSD box. Why not? If we're going to do that, we're going to send them out. Like, well, I know what it's supposed to look like. Like, let me tear it apart. It'll take 10 minutes. No, absolutely not. Clean it up, give it back to them. That's what I did. You know, and then at another race, I did the same thing. And again, the question was, and at that point, you know, I was pretty frustrated with the whole situation. And, you know, what are you doing with that? But tear it apart. We already covered this. You're not tearing apart an MSD box. Okay. So I cleaned it up and gave it back to the team. And, you know.
Was it two separate teams at this point?
Two separate teams. Two different teams. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I didn't take them for any rhyme or reason. It was just, okay, tonight I'm taking your MSD box. And nobody had any issues with it. I mean, hey, I'm taking your MSD box. What are you doing with it? Tearing it apart. Okay, here. And they give it to you. You know, and the one team's like, well, hey, like, that's my main MSD box. We race again on Wednesday. Can you have it back to me? Yep, I'll have it back to you. And, you know, the teams never put up a fight, basically, with anything I wanted to do. The teams didn't have an issue with it. It was just handcuffed, I would say. That would be the word to best describe my experience.